of Flash and Ripple. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Ripple is kind of an interesting animal. It has if you're a coin holder, the downside to Ripple, and I looked at it, I didn't like it. In fact, I missed the market for Ripple, and I think the technology for Ripple is pretty good. I mean, I know the head cryptographer there pretty well. He's a very good guy. I think they have some very good people at Ripple. But you have to keep in mind, there's 55 billion coins that they pre-mined that are sitting in their vault somewhere. Now they have locked it up and they've got an escrow that it's going to be released only so much and they can only sell so much. But that is a problem that's called overhang. If you're used to trading stocks, that's an overhang problem. Now, that is an advantage and a disadvantage. If you want the price to be very stable, in other words, you don't want the price to go up, you have the ability to just keep dumping coins on the market. Now, if you are a coin holder and your goal is to make money from the coin going up in price, that's probably not a good thing. Now, what's different about Ripple and Flash? Flash is a true community coin, okay? We don't have bank sponsorship. We don't have big VC investors that came in and invested millions of dollars and who need to get paid back. We don't have, we don't have a lot of those things. What we do have is we have a very active community. We have a very robust community, and the community is growing. Now, the question is, where are the banks going to put their product? Well, what they're going to do, if you think about it from the bank's point of view, how much money, and Ripple is basically sponsored by banks. How much money do banks make from their current business model? They make a ton of money. They literally print money with their current business model, and that is fractional reserve lending, right? So they are, if you actually look at people who are actually using Ripple, there are, it's a useful coin in some regards, and I own a little bit of Ripple, but it's a coin that I don't think is going to have huge appreciation potential and reward the community, right? Because the market cap's already, $10 billion or something?
Yeah.
I mean, let me see. I've got it right here. Its market cap is $36 billion. So it's got a $36 billion market cap. There are 55 billion coins sitting in the vault somewhere. How much more is this thing going to go up? Well, they could pump it up. Okay, let's say they pump it up to $100 billion. That's only a 3x return. If you're a holder of Flash and a community member of Flash, you are being rewarded. The built-in rewards program that we have is the limited supply. What are the chances of the price of Flash going up by 3 times to 900? Well, it's already been there. It's already been to 1800, right? So the question is, how much more appreciation can there be in this type of a coin? And is that a reward for people? The remittance part of the business, what people are looking for is a stable coin price. There are ways to do that don't require that you can just basically buy and sell the coin very quickly. And if you have an exchange program where you keep the price in a box, it can still move up and down, but people are able to trade a certain amount within this box. They're going to get the coin, and 10 seconds later they'll say, Grandma in India wants to sell the coin. She wants rupees. She doesn't want Flash. She wants rupiah. And you can do that. You can just trade it out right away, instantly. That's what FTI is going to be building. That's the application for remittances. Now, how are we going to compete with guys like Ripple? Well, there are a lot of small merchants in countries that, are going to be underserved by these kind of people. We're actually in discussions. I'll probably make a trip to the Philippines. Can't promise anything, but it looks very, very good. And, as soon as you can connect up with a local listed exchange that has a bank partner or a banking license, you now have the ability to go into fiat. You then go into the pawn shops. That's where all of this stuff happens in the Philippines. Now what's happened is you basically just took Western Union out of the equation. So instead of the fee of being 8%, it's going to be down to probably 1 or 2%, maybe less. And the blockchain, because we're a public utility blockchain, is basically free. So you just take that off the table. That's actually one of the advantages. Now, the banks own a lot of Ripple. They are investors in Ripple. So what do you think the banks are going to do? They're probably not going to want to make the fees free. They're not going to want that at all because they make a lot of money. If you look at their business model, there are two things that crypto basically destroys. The first is the transmission of value with crypto goes to zero. That's where it's going to go. Everyone can see it. The second thing is you can't counterfeit crypto, so you can't double spend and you can't do fractional reserve. Well, that's been the business model of banks for probably, thousands of years, right? So that's going to be the issue I think that the banks are going to have. The exchanges, the crypto exchanges are not going to go away. They are getting bigger and stronger every day. And all that you have to do is have a coin listed on an exchange, and you give people the opportunity and you provide the software. Even if Ripple is very successful, you can still have Flash be very successful. It isn't just a winner take all, and the only coin people can use in the whole universe is Ripple. They can use whatever. And as long as the software provides the value and the user gets the value from the application, and that's why we did this deal with FTI. Because we looked at it and we said, you know what, let's go, and these guys can go raise some money, they can hire some more engineers, so that our guys can focus on the blockchain and they can focus on the application. And then in return, they can charge, 10, 25, 50 basis points, depending on what they're doing for the service. And that's how it works. But that's a comparison. That's kind of a long-winded way to look at Ripple versus Flash. Ripple is also somewhat centralized. That's how they can process transactions quickly. They have very fast payment transactions. In fact, one of the first people who looked at Flash said, "Wow, are you guys using Ripple?" And we said, "No." So this is a different kind of an animal. It's a different kind of code base. And, my guess is that all these things, there are going to be a bunch of these things that are successful. So I wouldn't say, Ripple's going to take 100% of the market. That's just not going to happen. And, Flash, if we get a certain percentage of it, it's going to do very, very well.